The following Conscious Consumer Network recording of a live broadcast is available to purchase in high definition at ethymarket.com. Support free and independent media by becoming a CCN pledger. For €10 a month, you can have unlimited access to CCN high definition downloads at ethymarket.com. Ethymarket, the ethical marketplace for conscious consumers.
Hello and welcome to the One People Show. Hello and welcome everyone to this week's show, is it? The One People Show, One People Roundtable. I'm just going to stare at the screen like this for the next 2 hours and you guys get to think about what I'm thinking because that's the kind of week it's been. Dee, hi.
Hello, sweetheart. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm okay, but we haven't really spoken since last show.
No, this is all fresh and new for all of us, folks, because Lisa and I have been playing, Skype, Zoom, Facebook tag for like 5 days. So we have no idea what we're going to talk about. I haven't even been able to fill her in on the news yet today. So, which is how we usually, start our day.
Well, I know at some point, some time ago before, I said if nothing happens in September, I am just going to completely lose my shit.
Mm.
And on the one hand, nothing happened. The Pope made it safely out of the US. No assassination attempt, to my knowledge. I did see one post, one website said that we did ascend. The ascension happened.
Really? Did it?
I didn't get the memo.
I didn't get the memo. Okay, I want to lodge a complaint. I didn't get the memo that we all ascended. I'm very upset.
What else? I mean, but on the other hand, I mean, while all of the predicted, perceived stuff that was going to happen didn't, as we thought, perhaps it could have been just a huge distraction over here, look over there, while other shit went down, and another shit has gone down. But energetically, this has been all month, I guess. It's been pretty intense, but this last week has been insane. And it started for me not long after the show last week. By the end of that day, I had a daughter in hospital. I completely seized my lower back and was immobile. I was spending my time in the hospital with her, and I'm the one on a walking frame. I had some great interactions in the hospital. An old boy threatened to chase me down and to fight me for my walking frame. I said, "You'll probably catch me." But it's just, I don't know. I mean, relationships are falling apart at an alarming rate, from what that I'm aware of firsthand, and hearing through the grapevine. Yeah. People just in some really, really weird headspaces, and all I can say is whether it's the moon and eclipses and blood moons and all of that, but it's been a funky week. I mean, last week on the Collective Imagination show, we asked, the intent was to do with the physical body. So careful what you ask for. But
you said it, not me.
Yeah, I know. Careful what you ask for. But I'm on the mend. I'm mobile. The only thing that's not great yet is actually sitting. So I may have to get up and have a walk around before the show's off. So
just lay down. Just lay down on the couch. Make yourself comfy. And Vicky just said that wasn't last week because there was no collective imagination last week. It was the week before.
Oh, the week before. Yeah,
it was just before. It was the show before.
Yeah, I wasn't capable of a show last week. I'm sorry. I do apologize. So, we know what didn't happen. What did happen? I mean, the Pope running around the country saying, please pray for me everywhere. What the hell's that about?
I'm going to tell you something. And I also want to bring up something because I had someone send me a message on Facebook. I dropped it in over to you as well. Because that was startling. He addresses a big thing after he comes out of Congress. He's standing on the White House, like the balcony, because apparently popes have this real affinity for balconies, kind of like queens, I guess. You know, do the little wave. And he speaks to all these people, and there's like thousands of people out there. And he basically says, please pray for me. And I went, what? I kind of rewound it. And it was like, please pray for me. And I was like, okay. And then he goes into this whole thing about like all you guys who are not Christians who don't pray. If you don't want to pray, just send me your best wishes. I was like, okay, that's kind of really strange. And I could put a little note over to you, and a few others went like, wow, Pope's asking the people to pray for him. Seriously? And then the next day, there's an art, because when the Pope does his prayer on the balcony, Speaker of the House, Bonner, is right behind him. He's like to the left and just kind of behind him. And you can see him. He starts to cry, and he has to pull out the Kleenex and blow his nose. And now, Bonner is a Catholic, right? He's one of the only people in Congress who is Catholic. Or I shouldn't say the only, but very few Catholics are in Congress. So he is Catholic. So I'm like, okay, overwhelmed emotionally, you know, standing next to, you know, his idol or whatever. The next day, there's an article comes out in the Washington Post. And the whole article is so contrived. Do you know, it's like, well, you know, I was just standing there outside the White House, this reporter, just standing there outside the White House. Everyone had already left. There was no one really around. And Bonner comes out. And I tried to get a statement, expecting that he would ignore me like he always does. And he comes over and he puts his arm around like this reporter's shoulders. He says, I have to tell you all about this, because he had a private conversation with the Pope, apparently. And he's like, oh, and then the Pope said, and by this point, I guess the reporter's kind of like, okay. And he's like, no, I have to tell you. And the Pope said, please pray for me. And he repeats it 3 times. And I'm like, okay, first of all, he repeats it 3 times. We all know what 3 times is. And I was just like, this whole article was so completely contrived. The whole message was just this whole thing with Bonner. Please pray for me. Oh, and what happens the very next day? Bonner quits. Like up and quits. He's leaving in October, apparently, blah, 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 blah. And when the Pope was in New York, he did the same thing. Please pray for me. I was just reading a transcript of his big thing in Philadelphia. Again, please pray for me. I'm like, okay. Either the guy knows he's about to get whacked, because, you know, we've discussed it often enough. He said it's going to be he's not going to be around very long. Then someone sent me a little thing and was like, she'd read my comments about it on Facebook, and she was kind of thinking about it. She was like, oh, wait a second. If with him saying continuously, like, please pray for me, it's tacit consent to the whole agenda. And I went, oh, she's right. It's exactly what it is. It's a form of tacit consent. Get all these people, pray for the Pope, tacit consent, right there. Interesting though, because Nick has talked about this for ages, is the fact of all he is a PR person. Like, they brought him in to be a PR person because, like, no one's Catholic anymore. The Catholic religion is like just been nosediving for the last 30 years. He's the new face of Catholicism. You'll come back to the church. And I swear, in this last few days, I've seen at least 4 or 5 interviews where they've interviewed people on the street, and they're like, oh, you know, I really, really love him. I'm really considering becoming a Catholic now. And I'm like, yeah, there you go. PR person. Hell, even Fidel Castro apparently said he likes the Pope so much he would even maybe consider coming back to the church. Fidel Castro, everyone. Yeah. So
was any of this pray for me, any of these statements, were they prefaced or framed in anything? Just
no, just kind of no, like pray for me because I got a gun held to the back of my head. Please, you got to pray for me. No, it was just like in the middle of prayers, he would ask people even to pray for him in the middle of. It was really weird. It was really because he just every single stop. It was like he repeated that same mantra.
And he made some interesting comments on the plane ride back, apparently. There was an interview.
Did he?
Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that.
About government employees having the right to not follow orders if it goes against their conscience. Now, whether it was in direct...
Really?
Yeah. I don't know whether it was a direct reference to that woman who didn't give out a marriage license. But the implications, when you look back at the announcement that they made as well, back in 2013.
Mm-hmm. The Motus Prio? Yeah, that thing. The thing with the thing, September 1st, the whole bit. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. I just found that very, very interesting. Mm-hmm. This guy, I still can't figure this guy out. Because on the one hand, he's making all the statements you would expect in order to bring down the Catholic Church.
But well, here's the thing, right? Of course, I've always had lots of friends who are First Nations, etc. Now, Tohoki and I, we chat all the time when we can. And when he was in the States, the Pope, he was to canonize someone, right? That was the big thing that he was doing in Washington, D.C. He was canonizing. Well, he was canonizing some priest who basically fucking murdered First Nations people. Like, he is one of the most hated people by the First Nations people in like in California area, because this guy was just horrifying. And apparently when a lot of the First Nations found out who he was canonizing, they were like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? So all of his talk, down in South America about, oh, you need to forgive the church for the terrible crimes that were committed, before. Don't look at now, just before. It's all a crock of shit. And then I get an article come out today, the Onondaga, okay, who are in North New York State. The Onondaga Nation, their holy man, shaman, the spiritual leader of their people, of their, the one, and I can't remember the name of the specific group. It's gone right out of my head now, of the Onondaga, is invited to be in New York City for this big memorial thing that's supposed to happen. That was supposed to be non-religious. Remember, the Pope's going to do the non-religious ceremony. So he comes because he's been invited. He's in full ceremonial dress, including his headpiece, which has got feathers and it's got antlers. And security makes him take off his headpiece, even though they're saying it's a sacred headpiece. Like, he's here as a religious leader, and you're making him take. Well, no, it could be used as a weapon. They make him leave his medicine pouch, and he's brought a wampum, which is a special belt of huge significance. It's supposed to be a gift to the Pope. They won't even let him take that in. Then they won't even let him sit on the stage with all the other religious leaders. No. He just has to go sit out in the audience with everyone else. So the Onondaga are fucking pissed. And the one thing that keeps coming up right now is the doctrine of, oh, fuck, it's gone out of my head now. Let me see, I may have the link still open. Give me 2 seconds. It was, no, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Hold on. It is called the doctrine of discovery. Okay, because one of the goals was that he was supposed to meet with Pope Francis and officially ask Pope Francis to rescind and renounce the doctrine of discovery. The doctrine of discovery is from the 15th century papal bulls issued as Europeans began their campaigns of conquest and colonization in Africa, and later Christopher Columbus's voyages to the Americas. It declared that any European powers that discovered lands unoccupied by Christians could consider them empty and seize the land of the barbarous nations in the name of their sovereign. And it's still, that papal bull still stands to this day. It has never been rescinded or renounced. So here we have a guy who's talking all about, you know, freedom.
So that's the basis for Terra Nullius?
I guess so. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to look into it. But this is another one of these pieces of like, okay, this is a guy who's talking all this talk about, you know, honoring the First Nations and, you know, all you people and all the little people should stand up and revolt. Yeah, unless, of course, you're First Nations, in which case they're not even going to give you the time of fucking day. It's like, yeah.
Switching subjects for a minute, only because it's what's in my head right now.
Go.
Before I lose. Do you remember a couple of years ago when there was all this spate of news reporters like glitching out?
Yeah.
Like doing really, really weird things. It happened again the other day with Al Roker. Did you see that?
Wait, with who?
Al Roker. It was him, some woman, and I do know the other guy's name, but it's gone. They were outdoors.
It was from IMF.
No, they were just reporters.
No, the lady speaking was the IMF.
No, not this one.
Oh, okay.
Get off.
No.
And the other white guy and the woman start doing a dance, but they're dancing with a lot of space between them.
Yeah.
Right. And she makes the joke, and Al Roker's standing there, and he's smiling and laughing and carrying on, looking at these two. And then she makes the joke about, yes, as the Catholics say when you're dancing, you know, leave room for the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
Okay? Right at that moment, whether it looked like at the mention of the word Holy Ghost, Al Roker just goes, and he pulls this really weird face and freezes. Bizarre. Like he's looking this way at them. She says Holy Ghost, and he just goes and stays there. And you're looking at him, and it's any second now he's gonna
do something.
And it doesn't happen. And then they cut the clip. But you've obviously seen a different one.
Did you not hear about Janet Yellen?
Oh, I did see that. Yes.
Chief of the Federal Reserve. I mean, I've been fucking cracking jokes about this one. I mean, even she couldn't choke down her lies that she was trying to tell everyone about quantitative easing and rate hikes. I was like, she literally, first of all, got completely disoriented, massacred the last minute of her speech, and then she started coughing and almost threw up right there and collapsed on stage. And it's just like, wow. And I mean, yeah, everyone has just been like, look, even she can't stomach the words coming out of her mouth.
Yeah, Roku video is a couple of years old too. Someone just mentioned in the chat room. So maybe that was actually back then as part of that fight where people, I don't know.
Well, you know what? I wondered about that because, like, with her, there was someone else recently who did something, and I can't remember. It was something that just kind of went by in passing really fast. where they did a real disoriented, ridiculous hash job of trying to give a speech or something. And I said, oh, is it one of those things that just kind of like the energetics when things just, you know how bad it gets, where sometimes you just get, all of a sudden you just get slammed and you're like, what was I talking about? Jeez, I don't even know what the fuck I was just saying. Was that hit? Did she just kind of get hit, or did she literally get hit with like some kind of, I mean, there's been all kinds of talk, you know, she was hit with one of those rays that kind of fucks up your brain, and who knows? Yeah.
In the chat room, apparently Yellen claimed dehydration. There was more than that going on.
Oh, well, like I said, you mean like Hillary Clinton? Her dehydration after her helicopter got shot down in the Middle East, and she disappeared for like 3 weeks, and then she came back and had dehydration and passed out and hit her head and got a concussion and disappeared for another 6 weeks, and then came back looking completely different. You mean like that kind of dehydration? It's going around apparently.
So we are going to take calls today. If Biggie wants to do what he does, get things happening.
I want to talk about CERN.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether it's connected, but sinkholes. We had one in Queensland, in a very popular tourist attraction, camping ground spot. Thankfully, it happened slowly enough that people were able to evacuate. No lives were lost. Caravans and tents were, but it's pretty. Do you remember what size it was?
It was big. It wasn't that deep, but it's pretty
7 meters
big.
deep, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah. Okay. So soon.
Yeah, CERN's been really fucking interesting this week. I've been watching really, really closely. I've been using Facebook a lot because Skype's a disaster. Oh, and Facebook went down again today. In case you guys in Australia didn't know, Facebook went down again today. Yes.
People have taken up your suggestion, which is a good one, in case you didn't hear it. If all the social media goes down, we do have this chat room here on the website. So if that stays up, you can use that to get messages out or communicate with people. And some did that when it went down.
Yep, and it's really, really funny because I was actually going to go to the chat room just to go, anyone else in here? Because Facebook's down. And I will, if, like I said, if social media goes down, I will open up comments back up again on removing the shackles. We'll dust it all off and clean it up. Just kind of like, okay, we'll turn on the comments again. Just to give a place for communication if possible, you know, if it still works. No, CERN. Go away, mosquito. I've been really putting out updates continuously on Facebook. Like I've been really, really using Facebook to get information out all week long and follow all these stories as they're breaking. And I've been putting out a lot of updates on CERN. CERN's having some issues at the moment. Now, they were supposed to hit top high, like a very high energy point this week. I mean, that was the whole thing. Now, we got the report in August. Okay, so phone details are on the stream. Good stuff. We got the detailed report in August from CERN, them saying, oh, we're not going to make what we needed, what they were planning on doing for September. They weren't going to have it ready in time. Now it would be December before they were able to run those experiments. But there was still supposed to be some pretty major things they were supposed to be doing this week. And they tried, but apparently they've been having some issues. So, like I said, I kind of live with the CERN live feed on all the time now. Like Nick and I both are like every little while, what's going on, CERN? I just turned off my live feed to have all my bandwidth for the show, so I can't tell you right now. They keep losing one of their beams. And the two reports that just keep coming up all the time is number one, they haven't really reported much on it. A, they keep losing beam 2, where I can watch it and you'll see it firing off, and then all of a sudden beam 2 just disappears and they have to do an abort boom, they shut it all down, and they do it like an emergency shutdown of the beams, etc., and they dump it all. The other thing is they keep finding UFOs in the tubes. Now, UFOs don't mean unidentified flying object. It means unidentified foreign object in the tubes. But there's continuous reports. They lose beam 2, and they have an unidentified foreign object at somewhere in the circle, I guess. So they've gone from last week, they ramped it up. So they've been firing it at about 1,200 bunches for the last 2 weeks. They ramped it up to 1,383 on Tuesday. They started losing beam 2 regularly. They went down for Wednesday, Thursday, firing one bunch. Just one, because apparently they were seriously having some issues. They've gone back up to, now I think they're only doing 800 right now, but they were doing 1,300 yesterday. All through the blood moon, they ran it. It was on high peak the whole way from about midnight all the way through until 5 o'clock in the morning when they lost beam 2 and they had to do an emergency shutdown. So I don't think things are going so well for CERN at the moment, which I really think is awesome, but yeah.
Well, I'm wondering what's the connection between CERN and the Schumann resonance? Because when I first came across the Schumann resonance, early 90s, I guess, the talk then was it was like 7.2 or something back then.
Yeah.
And it was expected to peak at 13. And from all the spiritual, metaphysical perspectives, that would be when the shift happened, when it hit 13. And now I'm hearing reports that it's as much as 16.5 and stuff like that. So is this as a result of CERN? Has it taken it beyond?
No, I don't think so. Because I think that whole, once it hits 13, will all ascend is just another piece of that cockamamie bullshit. Sorry. What numbers, dates, the whole bit, just to make my head kind of twig out and go like, yeah, because you guys got some magical 8 ball that tells you that at 13 we all ascend. Yeah. And nice pick of a number. Because that's not ritualistic at all. Hold on. I am going to try and pull up the Schumann resonance right now because I've been following it, and all of a sudden, hold on, where is it? No, not there. No, that's CERN. There it is. Sorry. On the 21st of this month, the one that I use, which is Russian, yeah, there's still nothing. Has not been updated. This is a live feed. Has not been updated since 1400 on the 21st of this month. There's 0 updates. None. And I put a call out saying to everyone, I said, look, well, I use this Russian one. It's the only one where I found a live feed is out of Russia. If anyone has another site that does a live feed for the measurements, please let me know. I haven't had anyone come forward with anything else. But there's been no measurements on the Schumann resonance feed that I use since the 21st.
And where was that on the 21st?
It's sitting at, hold on. I'm going to have to flip it to the actual, there it is. And it peaked out at about 8.09. Looks like the highest peak of that day was 8.09. I can see, right? And like I said, it's not an easy one to actually view. And I haven't spent enough time looking at it, like I do CERN, to be able to read the graphs the same way. So I don't know. Have they just taken it down because people are referring to it too much? I don't know.
We've got McNeil in the chat room's got quite the sense of humor. When I hear of time to arse end, when the shift hits the fan, I have to say WTF.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like I said, maybe we'll send it on the 21st, and that's why we can't see the Schumann resident.
Yeah, it was an interesting, very interesting article I read that said, "Oh yeah, it happened. By the way, we all seen it, or most of us did.
Most of us.
I guess I got left behind.
Yeah, you and I both. It's okay. We'll keep each other company. It's okay. And I'm good. Everyone in the chat room with us too. They all got left behind, so we're all good.
Must have. So the calling number is now on the screen. If you guys want to call in, feel free.
I was just going to segue into something else. Oh, it's just gone right out of my head. Look, I'm pulling with Lisa. It's gone right out of my head. Well done.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. It's been a ridiculous week. I wanted to call it because we've had some interesting shit going on, and it kind of like the whole month of September, it just keeps everything keeps escalating. Like, that's why I keep saying that every show, it's kind of like, it's been an interesting week, because you always think it can't get any more interesting or more stuff, and it just does. So I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Animals behaving really, really fucking strangely. And kids.
And what?
And kids.
Oh.
My little barometer has been just for 3 days solid. Just, wow. And our dog is freaking insane. She's asleep next to me on the couch now, being all quiet and shit. But it's been nuts. Like, the dogs in the neighborhood we've had multiple days where the dogs howl all day long. Like, they kind of stop for little intermittents, and not the usual just barking. Because I mean, you get it, they start barking, and then the one over the hill starts barking, and then that one over. It's almost like the communication now. They're just having a chat. No, I mean full on howling. We had massive amounts of jellyfish on the beach this week. Kira got stung quite well, actually. We've been teasing her because it's all you get the little, like a little tattoo of bumps where the tentacles hit you. And we said she's just starting a new fashion craze. It's kind of like semi-permanent scarification. I don't know. There's some people probably stupid enough to actually buy into that. So yeah, it's been really, really strange. Just like you said, people acting really fucking weird, and
well, you know how
animals acting weird.
You know how, like with Lily, for example, she talks about basically 10 to 15%. And I know what I'm about to say is going to sound terrible.
On you go, darling.
So I know that. But how do I put it? There is no way of putting it that doesn't sound terrible. I'm feeling more and more disconnected from the greater collective. More and more in agreement with your premise that not everybody's real. Seeing more and more evidence that, unfortunately, a vast majority of humanity are beyond help. Finding less and less people that I can tolerate in my personal space. Now, I don't know what that is. I mean, I'm thinking I'll just try and swap my car out for a van and live in that all by myself. And just, or, go and get a tent and live in the middle of nowhere. I was looking for someone to give me an island last week.
Just give me an island. Okay, not even an island. It doesn't even have to be that isolated, but like just give me a
I'm not alone. Chat room. chat room's going, yep, me too.
Yep. Give me a piece of land. And I literally, I had this whole thing. You go off on the rants, and I don't know about everyone else if you rant in your head. I rant in my head quite often because sometimes it's just the only safe place to rant, you know. I just went off on this complete, I was cleaning, which is, of course, my best rant time is when you're mad, you clean everything, and you can rant in your head while you're scrubbing shit. And it's over everything you just said, Lisa. Everything you just said. And that whole thing of like, I just need somebody, just give me a piece of land big enough for me to build a community on so that I can invite the people that I like to be there. And everyone else can fuck right the hell off.
Yeah, me too. The list of the people that I would invite just got shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And I was like, oh, that's just me. I'm just going to be there on my own.
It's just one of the things Nick and I've had big conversations for the last week. We got to go out to up to the Rift Mountains to go see our family who does the cooperative and is making all their essential oils for us. And they're so awesome. Like, these people are so phenomenal. What they're doing, what they have done and accomplished in the last 2 months, unbelievable. And I've just been like, there's so much that I want to do, and I just fucking can't. Like, it's just, you continuously, it's like roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And it's just like, somebody just give me, actually, it's really, really funny. Here you go. For all you Denarians out there, some interesting intel came out about the Vietnamese dong this week. A notice went out from the state bank of Vietnam that has to do with exchanging money and crossing borders with money. But they give their numbers versus the $5,000 American, which is basically now you're not allowed to cross any border with anything more than $5,000 American equivalent. The number they give to the $5,000 American as of October 30th. Sorry, October 1st. All right.
Tomorrow, Thursday.
2 days, yeah. Works out to, I think, 21 cents to the dollar. 21 Vietnam dong to the dollar. Which is, whoa, massive jump. Like, massive jump. And this notice came out of the Bank of Vietnam, the Central Bank of Vietnam. So this is
does that mean that the RV for the dong has gone through without any kind of fanfare?
It could mean that it is going to go through, that's why they set this law, and this statement had to come out in advance, because obviously it's always been the concern with, back in my Dinar Intel days, was if you're crossing the border somewhere, what do you do if you're crossing the border and you got like a wad of freaking Iraqi dinar in your pocket, and all of a sudden it revalues and you're in the middle of traveling, and you've gone from having, like, $400 worth of Viet dinar to all of a sudden having, $400,000 worth of dinar in your pocket, because they can confiscate it at that point. So is that what it was? Is that an illegal precedent that they're giving a certain amount of notice by putting out this statement saying this, because people can't be caught traveling with it without their having already been officially notified? I don't know. But like I said, all I can say is it came directly from the Bank of Vietnam, the Central Bank of Vietnam. And I can't remember what the actual number was. If it was, we were playing with the math on it. One person, I think the original number was worked out to be 10 Vietnam dong to the dollar, and then someone else said, no, you don't have it worked out right. It's 21. I don't know. So there you go. A little bit of dinar intel for you. And I was joking, saying, well, I got 2 million dong in a suitcase here somewhere. I'm like, good, that's fine. Let that happen. And then I can buy my piece of land and I can do what the fuck I want to do. And invite the real short list of people.
Teeny weeny list. Well, apparently we can invite most of the people in the chat room because they're all feeling the same. So everybody would just give everybody space.
Yeah, everyone would be like, okay. You know what? This is the thing. And I don't have to tell you, Lisa, because we've been through this for the last 2 years. There's something so fundamentally amazing about sitting with a group, I mean, in person, sitting with a group of people that you can fucking talk about anything with. And you know that not one of them is going to look at you and go, are you fucking crazy? You're insane. She's a crazy person, because they're all like, you know, yeah, we get it. And you can turn around and say, oh my God, I'm taking a hit. I need to go sit down. And they'll all go, yeah, go sit down. And just go on with the conversation, because it's, you know, whatever. There's something about that is so important, to be able to have that, to be able to reach out and just be with people who just fucking fundamentally understand. I mean, none of us believes the same thing. None of us are on the exact same page, because I don't think that exists anywhere in the universe. But just have people who fundamentally know where you are and understand.
I think that's what was so important, and in some cases, many cases, life-changing about the Opal Tour itself.
Yep.
It's because we created these spaces for up to 100 people at times to come together and talk like that. And you had up to that many people who were just, yep.
Yeah, I get it. Totally get it. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm totally with you.
And for a lot of people, it was the first time. They really felt that they could be themselves, tell their stories, be completely open, and know they were in a completely loving, non-judgmental space. It was profound.
Yep.
There was a lot of tears over that 2 months, and tears of joy and relief, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't tolerate not being or being in a space of superficial, false matrix bullshit for more than about 3 minutes.
Well, you know what's really funny? Last night we went to a dinner party, which is why Transpicuous News was broadcast live at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and not 9 o'clock at night. 9 o'clock at night, they got the canned recorded version. Because I had dinner party to go to, like real dinner party, like live music, catered, the whole bit. And this is our next door neighbors, who just 2 houses over from us, and they're a lovely British couple. Really, they're in their 70s. They're really, really lovely, and it's their wedding anniversary. So they had family come down from England to be with them, and I've met their one son and their nephew. I've already met before previous trips down, and it was a phenomenal evening. Like, incredibly talented musician. We were singing. Everyone was getting up to the mic and singing. I mean, incredible food, and yet, as much as it was fantastic, it was so lovely to have a completely different evening like that. It was also this relief, like when we walked back home in the house, of like, okay, you can kind of let down the guard, because they get things. So the neighbors, they know what I do. They know that I do a news show every week, and et cetera, et cetera. And then they all, oh, really? You do a news show? And you're like, yeah. And then you sit there and you go, oh, fuck, how much can I say? How much can I say? And you kind of talk a little bit around the edges just to test them out. You go, oh, we're not going to go there. Okay. Oh, yeah. Blair, Tony Blair and Cameron and Harper and Bush, they're terrible people. Yes, I agree with you completely. And if you knew what I knew, you'd drop dead on this spot. But yeah, as much as it was a fantastic, lovely evening of, like, you know, entertainment and just wonderfulness, it was also so good to actually finally get home and have to be able to take the wall back down and go, okay.
Untie your tongue.
Unlock your lips and go, okay. You know. So yeah, I'm in that place of just like, I'm so sick and tired of all the fucking bullshit. I'm so sick and tired of all the ridiculousness that I'd like to just build my little community somewhere that's just fucking do what we're going to do and get off the grid and just do what we're going to do. Not deal with the bullshit anymore. Because my bullshit meter is completely blown. And I've been rather harsh with some people lately because I just have no patience anymore for the stupidity.
Well, we're not alone. I mean, the chat room's saying the same thing, you know. But I mean, I am in the process of looking for a space to start community here, and the scale of that keeps changing. Yeah, we can change the world. No, fuck it. Yeah, we can. No, fuck it.
And that's exactly it. That's why I keep going. You start off with like, oh, we have a piece of land here, and we'll do this, to the point of like, I want a little island that is surrounded by great white sharks that have laser beams for their eyes. Who is it? What movie is that? Is that the Mike Myers with the sharks with the laser beams, so that no one can get to the island? Like, no one. And just be like, no, we're just totally don't need you anymore. All of the rest of you can fuck off somewhere. We're quite happy over here. I'm glad to know that we're not the only ones.
Mary just said in the chat room, do you ever get the urge to tell someone to shut the fuck up even when they're not saying anything? Nice. Oh, that's funny.
Mary. Oh. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, I know that feeling quite well.
Okay, so
I'm telling you.
Call in. We want to know what's been going on for you and what you've observed. And I can't say that nothing's happened this month, because it has, but it's just none of the things that we were directed to look at.
Yeah, but that's exactly what December 21st, 2012 was the exact same thing. And that's why it was like, they just played it out again. Because then there's a whole shitload of people right now who are going, fucking nothing happened. Nothing happened. It's all bullshit. And going back to their day job, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? Just being like, fuck it, that's it. I'm done. I've had that message. I don't know from how many people. Been like, fuck it, I'm done. Nothing happened. That's it. I actually, because we had Facebook went down, right? I got a message from a friend of mine in Norway who was just like, Facebook's down. Is there anything else going on? Please tell me there's something else going on. And that's the reason why Facebook's down. And I'm like, no, it's back. You could feel the frustration coming right through the Skype screen of like, damn, I was really hoping that it was like down. And it was down because it was something really major happening. So I hear you. Yeah. Yes.
And question, can we find out how many had a strange electric thingy happen on Saturday? Camilla, what do you mean by that? Like,
yeah, because I electrocuted myself on Saturday.
You did?
Yeah, I did. With my panini maker. We've actually no, because this is okay. And we'd almost need Nick to come in here. No one in Morocco knows how to ground any electricity. Like, no house has got proper grounding in it. I mean, and when we were in Ousham, how many times everyone, I mean, literally. This last week, we have electrocuted ourselves so many freaking times, it's not even funny. To the point now, my kids almost won't touch anything that's electrical. They're like, Mommy, I don't want to touch it. It's going to electrocute me. So I don't know. Is that kind of what you're talking about? Or are you talking about just the fact of like buzzing? Because I've had plenty of that too.
Yeah, nothing as yet. Yeah, or whether it's an internal, that electric feeling inside, or whether I was asleep and woke up with my whole body like shaking. Yeah. I went into my head and then made a snap noise. Oh, I've heard the snap.
So have I.
Nothing happening is something. The energy Saturday was nuts. Someone's microwave blew out, but nothing else in the house.
I almost blew up the panini maker. Does that count? I had that. What was it? I was talking to you about it when I had that weird thing happen. The same thing where I was feeling really strange, and I looked up and I felt something like snap in the back of my head, and all of a sudden I went completely freaking sideways. Like I had to slowly lower myself to the floor because I couldn't even sit down. I like kind of slid down a wall to get to the floor, but same thing, that snap. Like I just moved my head the wrong way, and I literally felt something go snap, and it was like, oh, look, there's the floor, and I'm coming real quick.
Well, what was happening with CERN on Saturday? Because, I mean, it looks like everybody had something. Someone had buzzing, dizziness, there was...
Let me pull up all my records.
Tones,
okay, what was, yeah, that may have been one of my radio days. What was the date on Saturday, guys? In the chat room, not Lisa's date, because that's the wrong date.
I'll give it to you both. The 25th, 26th was Saturday.
26th was Saturday. Let's see. Hold on. If I go like this, I should be able to. Okay, here we go. Beam dump at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's right. There was the big beam dump after running at extreme high all day. Protection dump, multiple systems dump was done at 1 o'clock in the morning. Cryogenics, because they had a cryo problem again. Hold on, because there was something else that happened later on in the day. 26, 12:48 in the afternoon. They had another beam dump. Oh, due to a UFO and 5L1. So there you go. They had another unidentified foreign object. That was at just after noon. Is that the 26th? And then at 2 o'clock. Yep. Say again.
Was that the day you woke up with that? It might have been that vision that I told you about. Didn't I tell you?
Was that the day, or was that Friday? I can't remember. That's interesting. Yeah, I actually wanted to discuss that. You should tell. Can you try and explain that to everyone, because that was really, really interesting.
It was about how everything occupies the same space.
Brilliant.
You charging it?
Do you want to be on camera?
Oh, sorry.
Whoever that was.
I'll get my head out of the way.
The reflection right behind me.
We can see you.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, okay. So it's about
the vision. Go ahead.
So it was one of those. It was another one of those sort of like zip file deals where you get
flash.
So it's an image of I can see myself. I'm standing on the Earth as a globe, and it looks and feels exactly as it does. But it's then as if I drop down a density, and at the next level below that is this, the word comes, it's the reptilian Earth. It's also a globe, but it's had all the color stripped. It's like it's just gray. It's shades
gray tone.
And I know it's reptilian, but it's occupying the same space. And where I'm standing on my level, I'm standing on grass. But in that level, there's a huge abyss underneath me. It's as if I'm just floating on top of it. I'm completely safe because I'm connected to my level, but I'm seeing it at that level. So I'm standing hovering basically over this huge abyss that just seems to go forever, and all the color's been stripped. And then I come back to this level, and then I go up a level, up a density, and I'm on the flat Earth map. And it feels and looks different. It's so much richer in color and brighter. But it's flat. And then I go up another level, and we're back to a globe, and it's white. It's almost like
the color's bleached out of it.
No, not even not that. Almost like, well, light contains all colors.
Mm-hmm.
right? So it was more like so much color that it all whited out. But
Yeah.
like a prism, you can see color coming from it, but it was so bright. And I have really no idea what that was all about. But I did see and feel, very much felt how different these levels, dimensions, whatever, felt.
But that they occupied the same space. That was the
they're all on
big thing.
top of each other. Yeah, they're all occupying the same space, and it's just a frequency away. And the grey one felt very empty and cold. It was this void feeling about it. But I have no idea what it was trying to tell me, really. But in each one, my surroundings was different. You know, what was beneath me, the ground beneath me was different.
Yeah.
But I knew they were all occupying the same space. It was weird. I don't know what it means.
Yeah. And I had weird dreams all week again. All week again, I had really strange, fucked up dreams. And the kind of things where there were certain things that happened and you kind of grab yourself in that moment in the dream and go, you have to remember that. Remember that. And at one point I can remember having one of these moments and I guess I got to go get a drink or something like that. And it like literally the mantra in your head going, you must remember it. You must remember it. I could remember it perfectly clearly. Went back to bed, went right back into the dream, whatever it was. Another little piece of it played out and did the same thing. Okay, you have to remember that. And actually having moments where I would almost pause the dream and rewind that section to remember it. Just to kind of almost like say, yeah, okay, good. I still remember. Yep, I still remember. And then waking up and literally someone taking a whiteboard eraser and going, gone. And you'd sit, because it was there, like literally 3 seconds before. It was there because as you're coming up and you're starting to wake up before you've opened your eyes, it's there. You can remember, and you open my eyes and literally it's like whiteboard eraser, just been fucking gone. And I can't tell you how many mornings I've got, fuck, again, fucking again. I mean, just, So, yeah, really strange dreams. Kind of not my reality.
Or that much at all. I'm not remembering them, but when I do, it's pretty cool. It's something like that. But people are talking about their dreams too in the chat room, and everything from having very lucid dreams and remembering them to not remembering anything.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny because I was just sitting here right this second going, I had some really kind of weird dreams not yesterday morning, would have been when I woke up. And I can remember only all the dream. I can't remember anything except I can remember inanimate objects in the dream. And one was my eldest son Gabriel appeared and he gave me what looked like a tablet. Just like a, it was about the size of a, and I knew it wasn't really a tablet, but it was something like that he gave me. And I knew that I had given it to him before. And he was bringing it back to me. Like he was like he'd been using it. And he made some comment about like he took all of his crap off and he gave it back to me. And I'm scrambling around trying to organize shit. And I keep having dreams of where the basis of it, there's a rush. Whatever's happening, it's like a rush. And it's like whether you're trying to pack a bag and you're really in a rush. And I keep having that one over and over again. It's very strange. And I remember picking up, and each time it's always unpacking a really fucking small bag. That's the other one that always cracks me up, is I'm always packing this really small bag. And so you're doing that, the double level of the dream, like in the one you're acting out what's going on, but the other one you're like, okay, how am I going to fit all this shit into this small bag? What's important? What do you prioritize? And I pick up a pocket watch. And I know that it's Nick's pocket watch. Now, Nick does have a pocket watch. We haven't seen it in like probably 15 years. It's somewhere back in British Columbia, really. And I pick it up and I put it in like a part of the bag, like in the pouch in the bag. And then as I'm going and I'm putting things away, I pick up and I'm like looking for important pieces. And I find another pocket watch. And this one I know belongs to my dad. And I sit there and I grab it and I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, this is my dad's pocket watch. Well, I got to keep this safe. And I'm looking and it's like, you've run out of spots, but I have a jacket that's got like an inside pocket on it, like a men's suit jacket of the inside pockets on them. And it's hanging on the back of a chair. So I just dropped the watch in the back of the chair, in the jacket in the back of the chair. And then I stopped and was like, okay, what is it about pocket watches? Like 2 pocket watches? Why the hell am I dreaming about freaking pocket watches? And that is the only thing I can remember, even though I know that the dream went from like the moment my eyes closed to the moment they opened. And I had to get up 2 or 3 times during the night to go to the kids, to get a drink, whatever. And each time when I go back, lay back down to bed, it would just continue right from where I had left off. And all I remember is pocket watches. Explain that one to me. I don't know. Something about time? I don't know. That was my whole thing. Was this supposed to be some kind of a memo about time? Is that why it's pocket watches? Because it would be one timepiece that I would go, pocket watch? You're muted.
Time again. Okay. There was something that Gary David put into our Skype room.
Uh-huh.
And this loop that's going on in my head about the roughly 100-year cycles. Gary said something about the Chinese. There was something going on with the Chinese yuan, and whatever you want to call that thing.
Yuan, yeah.
Who was it? There was a Chinese ambassador or something that was meeting with the Pope.
No, the president.
Premier.
Yeah.
Premier?
Yeah.
And that it could well be about closing out the old trust.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's very interesting.
Reigniting it with the Chinese as the trustees.
Well, that is really interesting because I saw that and I went looking for background information. And yeah, the yuan has just been included in the SDR basket for the IMF. So that's been the ongoing for like 6 months now. So apparently that was announced. They are now going to be part of the SDR basket. The yuan is going to be in there. So much for them saying, oh, better luck next year. Also, the fact that China just bought 300 Boeings. And that's been the comment too of like, oh, did they just buy their way corporately into the SDR basket by saying they're going to buy 300 jets? I don't know. But the other thing that was said is he has said that they're going to debt forgiveness. And the word was used as debt forgiveness to help small nations, basically kind of wiping out what debt they have to pay back. No, he didn't. I don't know if he said this year, if he meant this year, like as in from now or next year. I wasn't sure. But yeah, like a kind of like a debt forgiveness for the small nations and putting forth some ridiculous, ludicrous amount of money to help bail out nations, which is kind of funny considering that on the books, China's dead broke, just like the US is. But of course, there's the whole gold thing, right? Yep. Shoot, Lisa.
Sorry, I'm jumping back because of the comments that are in the chat room. Really insightful stuff. 2 timepieces, 2 timelines.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me run back.
Because I have been talking about that, about 2 timelines.
Where'd it go? Pocket watches, watch portable time in small spaces, timelines, timepieces. 2. Maybe it's time for you to do something. And since the watches are connected to you personally and are important to you, it might be something important. It is time for you to do. And doing this forum is just one of these important things, just a thought. That's it. But I think that feels insightful. 2 timelines, 2 timepieces.
Yes, very much so. But the other thing is what you said about time to do something. It's really funny because I woke up this morning. It started on Saturday a little bit, where I started really nose to the grindstone working on some stuff for our guys' gardens. But I woke up this morning and it was like, right, I got to get shit done. And I literally pulled out like sewing stuff and put on my glasses and started sewing up tears in pants for like kids. And I sewed up pants, and then I was like cleaning the kitchen. I did a little laundry, and I was just like, right, okay, what else is there to do? Okay, I need to do this. Okay, let's go. And I was like, okay, I need to make some new toothpaste. I need to make some new deodorant. I need to make another batch of the skin cream that I do. I need to do this. I also need to test this. And I literally was like, let me get some stuff done. So it was kind of like I've had this feeling for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks especially, that I hate to use Heather's analogy, but she used to always use that about someone holding onto your coattails and you just can't go. And I've had that feeling for a couple of weeks where it's been just ridiculous, and it kind of feels like it's lifted in the last 48 hours now. All of a sudden I feel like, okay, I need to go. And that was part of this whole thing with community as well, of like, right, I have shit I need to do. So I just need someone to give me some land so I can get all the shit done, because I've got to do, we've got the free energy, we've got the new farming methods that we want to do, we've got the new building methods, we've got the new health stuff that I want to do, and blah, 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 and I want to do lessons on this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and yeah. So I have a lot to do, but I need someone to give me some land. So if anyone knows anyone who's got some land they want to give away, that I could like put up yurts and build earth ships and shit. We're all over that. You should see the design Nick's come up with for some container housing. Fucking awesome.
Well, I'm on it. I'm actually looking for the land now.
No, you're in Australia. So
as will you be. You be coming. You will come. I've called it, and you will come.
Or he will come. Depends on what time.
Or they will come.
Or they will. Oh yeah, don't even start.
Whichever version you go
Although
with.
interesting, because there's another little piece has come up this week again. I've talked about the Second World War seems to be a big focal point for changing history, and the little pieces that happened, like starting in January, of government people arguing about basically how World War II played out, happened again this week, this time between Russia and Poland, and arguing about the beginning of World War II. And because Russia basically was said to Poland, well, you know what, you're just as equally responsible as everyone else for the travesty of what happened to your people. And Poland went, oh, how could you, we were invaded, how could you say that? And they were like, yeah, they were trying to set up a coalition to stop Nazis, and you refused to be a part of it. And as a matter of fact, you went behind the backs of everyone and actually ruined the coalition. So yeah, you got what you deserved. I'm summarizing, but that's kind of how the conversation was. And I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. Is this another case of politics trying to change history? Or is this a case of another cross timelines of like, well, this guy's saying, no, this is what happened. And the other guy's going, that's not what happened. What are you talking about? Oh, I got a new topic to talk about. Stop presses. Giants. Giants coming out of the earth, and giants. It is fucking everywhere again. Now, I don't know if you saw the little GIF that I posted. Yeah.
Is that real? I mean, is that real? Because
I don't know, but if someone photoshopped that, if that was like a CGI, My hat is off to the person who did it, because I looked at it and I was doing the whole thing where you look at the shadows on the ground, you look at the movement of the shadows on the ground, you look at the shadows around, and it's pretty fucking well matched up. Well,
when it first starts, it's like that guy on the horse just sort of comes out of nowhere. And that was the bit that made me...
Well, because it's a GIF, right? So it's only 3 seconds of film that's been spliced in, and it just runs in a repeater, so you don't get a real sense of the begin. I was actually trying to find the original film. Like, I want to find a longer piece of it to understand where it came from, what it was. So here's the thing, though. We have a bunch of shit about giants. All of a sudden, in the last month or so, everyone's talking about giants, sleeping giants in the ground, giants coming out of the ground. Someone sent me the World Rugby, whatever just happened in England, because our next door neighbors, they were all watching it and screaming and yelling. It came down between Wales and England, so they're half Welsh and half English, so you can imagine what was going on in that household. Someone sent me a clip of the opening ceremony. And first of all, you want to talk about Illuminati fucking... this guy was just like, even the guy who's doing the video, who just takes you through and screenshots the pieces and then runs you through and does the circles and goes, oh my God. Even he was just like, I can't believe some of this shit. Because it's just like the Olympics or the Super Bowl, all the rest of it, so full of this. But you have this thing, and it's kind of like, it starts off with a film with like a young boy, it looks like turn of the century, 100 years ago, and he's playing rugby, and he kicks the ball, and then the ball goes up, way up to like almost out of the stratosphere, and then it comes down and it lands in the middle of the rugby field. And you have the lights all come off and everything, and they've made it so the whole center ground looks like it's been broken. Like the impact of this ginormous, like, I don't know, 20-foot tall rugby ball landing half buried into the ground. And then all of a sudden you have like the ground opens up and elevators come up, and they're like these zombie giants come out of the ground. And I'm just like, I don't, and even the commentator's like going, I don't believe they're using this. And the commentator at the rugby match says, and the giants came out of the ground. And it was like, whoa. Then Nick and I get another piece. I think it was Betsy who may have sent it to me. That is for a movie called, it's an anime movie. It's Japanese. So the trailer, I can't remember if I posted. If I didn't post it out, I'll repost it out on Facebook when we're finished the show. It's an anime movie called something the Titans. I can't remember. Something about the Titans. And it's a Japanese movie, so the trailer's just got the English subtitles in it. But it's the Titans, like kind of like Greek mythology Titans, come out of the ground, and they're huge. They're like 20 stories, 30 stories tall. And they're killing off humanity and eating humanity. Like they're literally grabbing them and eating the people on the street. And it's the people, the premise is they build this massive wall to wall themselves in to protect themselves from these titans. And then it's like the master swordsman. And you've got like the heroes of the story who have to fight the titans, kill them, etc., etc. Looks like a really, really good movie. And Nick and I were like, why do I see this?
Attack of the Titans.
Is it Attack of the Titans? Is that it? But again, giants coming out of the ground.
Attack on Titan.
Yeah, so it's something, Attack of Titan, on Titan, something like that. Anyway, yeah, but all of a sudden, and someone shows me again the stuff, because I was talking about the Smithsonian stuff, the Smithsonian Institute. I've seen the newspaper clippings from like 1903, etc., where they're announcing that they have giant skeletons. So all this giant stuff is coming up again, and they've just made another new discovery somewhere. I can't even remember where it was. It went past on Facebook another bunch of giant skeletons have just been discovered somewhere. I think it was in North America. Like, you know, like 12, 14-foot tall skeletons.
There's been something here too in Australia that's been unearthed. I have a feeling there's giants involved in that, and an ancient city, and it's all very hush-hush right now. We've got apparently a Stonehenge on Mars.
Yeah, heard about that. And there's water on Mars. You know, NASA, huh? They had this big announcement they had to make today. Everyone was like, "Ooh, NASA's going to make a major announcement." They have not water on Mars. It might be water, but they're not really sure. And it may not flow, which would be kind of difficult to have flowing water when it's 190 degrees below zero by NASA standards. But yeah, that was NASA's big, huge pronouncement. There's water on Mars. Yeah.
Didn't they say that years ago?
Yeah, I know. I know. And that's like I said, are you everywhere? That's what Nick said. Nick was like, well, I'm seriously underwhelmed. How about you? And I was like, yep. Anyone else underwhelmed? I'm underwhelmed. Yeah. Thanks for coming out with a distraction. Oh, a distraction right in the middle of the UN summit. The same day that Putin, Obama, Lee, and the president of Iran are all speaking at the UN summit. It's the day that NASA is going to make this big announcement. Right? Nice distraction.
I'll tell you what, I'm really liking Putin. I do. I like him. There was another interview that I saw him do this morning that him just telling them like it is.
The one where he's answering back to the American reporters about they're trying to blame, and basically, why won't anyone ever listen to us? It was an awesome interview. It was, I was just like, yeah, go tell him, Putin. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's just as corrupt as the rest of them. He has his own fucking agenda that he's following, no doubt. But yeah, at least he's got balls.
Well, you know, I mean, there's a pretty. He actually brought in the Anastasia Act, based on Anastasia, the Ringing Cedars books. That Anastasia, so I'm hearing through the underground grapevine, he actually sought her out and met with Anastasia because apparently she got a message out to him that Russia had a very important role to play in what was coming. And he went and met up with her and had a big chat. He brought in the Anastasia Act.
What's the Anastasia Act?
It's about giving, from what I understand, it's about giving everybody, what do they call the dashes? The dashes? You know, where everyone's got that
land.
The land with the duck, you know. That.
Yes. And he's done that. Levon verified that for me. Levon's actually got some friends who've gone and got the land, and they've got their big chunk of land. And I think, I can't remember the amount. I'm going to say 10 hectares, but might only be 1 hectare of land.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm not sure. And basically all you have to do is go there, farm the land. And if you can show that you're dedicated enough after 5 years, it's yours. Take it. It's yours forever and ever. Amen.
Yep.
You know what's the other interesting thing came out this week, speaking of Russia? The Russian government is exhuming Tsar Nicholas and his wife's bodies to do DNA testing and forensics analysis.
For what purpose?
The story goes that after the Tsar Nicholas and his family were killed, they found the bodies in 2 separate places. Like Tsar Nicholas and his wife's body was found in one place. The rest of the family's body was found in another place. And now they've got concerns that maybe those 2 bodies are not, and they need to do genetic testing to prove that they should be buried with the rest of the family. And I'm like, bullshit, right? I'm sorry, not buying that for a second. Right now, with all the shit that's going on, you pick now to exhume the bodies of Tsar Nicholas and his wife, to do full forensics analysis and genetic testing on them? Or is it perhaps Tsar Nicholas wasn't killed and there was some doubles put in their place and the bloodline is still there? Is that what they need the proof of? They need maybe forensics proof that the guy who's sitting there in the grave called Tsar Nicholas maybe isn't Tsar Nicholas, because they have genetic blood samples from Tsar Nicholas's father or grandfather who died in 1881 from his uniform he was wearing when he was killed. And they're going to cross-reference when they exhume the bodies with the blood sample that they have from the grandfather in 1881. I'm like, yeah, I'm not buying it. Not buying it.
Well, I wonder if Putin's a descendant.
Looking. Well, we know that there's a lot of this. We keep going back to the lineages things, right? So the one that I've been looking for is trying to tie Pope Francis with Pope Innocent III. Pope Innocent III is the one who signed the Treaty of Verona and the Magna Carta with King John, whom all the American presidents are related to King John. Now, we know that the Popey Poo, Francis, while he may be in Argentina, he's not Argentinian, even though they keep trying to say he's Latin American. No, he's Italian. His family moved there from Italy, and he's from one of the old nobility families in Italy. So I've tried to chase down his genetics. Yeah, good fucking luck with that. And cross-reference with, I spent about 3-4 days searching for the genealogy, because Pope Innocent III had 8 bastard sons. He made, and he was quite proud of the fact that he had 8 bastard sons, and he totally legitimized them, made them counts and earls and dukes, and gave them land and riches and the whole thing. So where are those? So you talk about famous treaties. I had a long conversation with Dohokdokte of the Mohawk Nation, and he is very knowledgeable about Russia. And he said, Russia is holder of several treaties that are really, really important. So every time you get into those historical treaties thing and you start talking about bloodlines, and you go, oh, and all of a sudden they're exhuming Tsar Nicholas? Yeah. No, not buying it. There's something there.
Or either somebody's going to make a claim that they are a direct descendant, or someone's trying to prove Putin is. That would be, it's the only 2 things that spring to mind right now.
Putin has had an interesting political life.
Very.
Very, very interesting political life.
Okay.
And you have the Chinese shit again.
If there is a connection between Francis and Innocent,
yeah,
it goes back, or may well tie in with what we talked about earlier with the information that Gary shared, that it's the closing out of that trust. It's the ideal closing out of that trust.
Yes, it would be, especially if you're setting up a new world order with a new agenda. Then you're going to have to close out the old one first, aren't you? That's the way these things work. There's always contracts involved. There's always this shit involved. We've seen the ISO stuff, so we know that they're bankrupting the old corporations. They've already set up the new corporations that will quietly just step in and take over.
Okay, changing subjects again. Oh my God, I'm so sorry that we're completely schizophrenic.
Random, totally random. Go ahead.
Anybody seen a little doco called "Yes Men Save the World"?
No.
And if you haven't, you have to. I love these guys. Have you heard of the Yes Men?
Nope. Maybe, but I don't remember names of anything or anyone, so, you know.
Okay, it's 2 guys who obviously have some funding and a larger team to work with. But they've done some amazing things. One of them was they go around and they create fake websites, dummy corporate websites. Like it looks like it's a website that belongs to Coca-Cola or Chemical or whatever. Deborah said yes to the yes, mate. So one of the things they did was at the 20th anniversary of Bhopal. 4 years prior to that, Dow Chemical bought Union Carbide.
Yeah.
And they made the announcement that they were going to compensate victims of Union Carbide. So everybody in India and Bhopal got very excited, but what that meant was they were paying out 4 people from Texas from some accident.
Yeah.
So on the 20th anniversary of Bhopal, these guys set up a website claiming to be a Dow Chemical website. It's the some kind of ethical department, ethical program that's being run by Dow. And of course, coming up to the 20th anniversary of Bhopal, somebody decides to contact them via this website and ask if the company would be prepared to make a statement. So they jump on it. They pretend to be representatives of Dow Chemical, get invited onto the BBC television with an audience of 300 million people and state on air, on live television, pretending to be Dow, that they have chosen to liquidate Union Carbide, $12 billion company or something like that, and use all $12 billion to compensate Bhopal. Because the old facility is still in Bhopal. It's still poisoning everybody. It's still happening.
Yeah.
Dow Chemical lost $2 billion in 21 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah, and their stocks
Plummeted. Took 21 minutes for them to lose
$2 billion in 21 minutes.
They got caught out within a couple of hours.
Yeah.
The whole thing got caught out. They ended up going to India because it was put to them that you've just given these people false hope.
Yeah.
So they end up going to Bhopal and meeting up with everybody. And most of the Indians actually embraced them. And said,
well, even just letting the story out, because 20 years later, how many people even remember Bhopal?
Well, that was the thing. It brought it back.
Exactly.
And they said, yeah, okay, we had some false hope for a couple of hours, but what you've done is shown this is what happens when a corporation tries to do the right thing. It's not profitable.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable for a corporation to do the right thing. Because the corporation couldn't backpedal fast enough.
Oh, yeah. No, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. We didn't do it. No. We didn't do anything.
But it gave the Indians, the people from Bhopal, felt it was worth it. The Dow Chemical lost $2 billion in 21 minutes, made the whole thing, made the false hope that we had for an hour worth it. And that it just highlighted the whole deal. But this was just one of the things they've done. They went to what was it, Exxon. They pretended to be representatives of Exxon at a resource energy sort of conference. They made a documentary with a guy who claimed, well, he's a comedian, but I can't remember what they called him. And they make this little documentary with him. He's an Exxon employee who dies as a result of all the chemicals and shit he's been exposed to. And he donates his body to research, right? To becoming a new energy source. So they're at this Exxon. Yeah, you get it. Yeah, it gets better. So they're at this energy summit. There's people, rooms full of people. They go around when it's their turn to speak. They go around and hand out candles. Everyone gets a candle, and it's in the mold of a man, right? Then they play, and then they light the candles. Then they play the documentary as a tribute. Basically, what they're telling everybody is that because our industry
has killed this man
and killing. No, it's destroying the planet and killing so many people, and it's just the cost of doing business, basically. That there's this whole untapped resource of dead humans.
Yeah.
Right. So we are going to use the dead humans that we're creating.
Yeah.
Death, as a new energy source. And this is our first prototype, the candles that you now have, that you're now burning. And they did things like they had to make them smell. They really wanted to make them smell like human flesh. So they had human hair and
toenail clippings and
these. And people are smelling these candles, right? And they're watching the documentary, and you can see some of them putting two and two together and go, and others are just going, what's going on? And they got shut down. Like, they made them stop the documentary. They dragged them out. And there's people making phone calls all over the place. You can try to confirm that they represent Dow Chemical. And it could Dow's
Exxon, you mean?
Exxon. Again, they get busted. They haven't been arrested, as far as I can tell, for anything that they've done so far. But they tried horror with the candles. They tried doing the right thing with that. And one of the other ones was they decided to try the ridiculous. So they created these disaster suits, which is this big inflatable suit that you get into and you pump it up, right? And it's got these things on the front. It looks like a huge
bubble.
A tick. It looks like this big human tick. It's fucking hysterical. And they've got these computer animated scenarios that they're showing people about how you can jump out of buildings in this suit, you can ride a tidal wave, you can, and that they can stick together. Oh, and they've got this claw that comes out and just like pierces a cow, and sucks the life force out of the cow, the blood, whatever, for your nutrients, so you don't have to get out of the suit, feed and all. And they're passing this off as a thing, as a real thing. It's legit. And at the end of it, instead of people going, "You guys are fucking insane and this is ridiculous," they had people asking for their business cards. So they're feeling like a failure time and time again, because no matter what they do, they haven't changed the world. They haven't really made a big enough difference. But it's, excuse me, it's going. Well, there's nothing you did.
Like, I put out the ad. It was in August. It was on Wall Street in August. A billboard, not one of the big billboards, but a pretty freaking huge sign on Wall Street for a backpack that contains a parachute. So just in case you have to jump out of a building, you can have your own personal parachute. I shit you not. And I was just like, there's no fucking way. Seriously, I'm like, I bet you they sold a shitload of them. If it's real, if it actually is a product that somebody has come up with, you guarantee a bunch of people have bought your personal backpack parachute for jumping out of buildings in case of a fire, or make-believe plane crashes into it. It could happen.
So if you haven't, you got to go and see it. Yes Men Save the World.
Yes Men Save the World. Okay, Nick and I will definitely look that one up, because that one sounds like one that's just going to be freaking hysterical.
It is.
Sorry, guys.
And if we could get
I had a late night last night. Sorry.
I'd love to get hold of these guys and talk to them.
Well, get a hold of them, find them, get a hold of them, get them on the show. Let's talk.
The other thing they did, and this is where it's clear that they have got backing. They printed 100,000 copies of the New York Times, but it was with all the news that you would want to hear in the world. So the front page has got things like the war in Iraq ends, university education in the US
is free. Yeah.
It's all this good news. It's like
it's all the shit you want to hear. Yeah.
All the shit you want to hear. And they go out and they have all these volunteers apparently, and they hand out 100,000 copies of these papers. Well, it reached mainstream as well that they'd done this. The people's responses, you know, and again, it was brilliant because people went, you know what? This is the news we should be waking up to.
Yeah.
Why aren't we waking up to this news? Why aren't things happening? So it actually really kind of motivated people and got them thinking. But I'd like to know who's backing the whole thing. Someone probably is.
Oh,
Unless
yeah. If just to print 100,000 copies of anything the size of the Wall Street
Special
Journal.
edition, so it wasn't like a
Yeah, it didn't have the sports section or but still,
that's a lot. That's still a lot. I love them.
Well, we'll definitely, Nick and I will definitely have to find that and watch it. I like people who do that kind of shit.
They're doing something. They're doing a lot, actually.
Sorry, guys.
They are making it. Yeah, you're gonna make me yawn, and
I'm really sorry. It was a really late night last night. I was like, oh, I have a talk show in less than 10 hours. Actually, less than 9. Well, no, what did I say? It was like less than 20 hours at a talk show. And I hadn't even gone to bed yet. So. I'm sorry, everyone. I'll try to stop yawning. Here, I'll have another drink of coffee.
The guys' names are Andy. I don't know how to pronounce that. Bichelbaum and Mike Bonanno. Sumo suits with accessories. Yeah, that's exactly what they were. They were like big parasite tick suits. It's just hysterical. And I don't know. But I see things like that, and then I think, yeah, okay, there are people in the planet worth saving.
Like I said, I had, was it 2 weeks ago, where I had one day and I opened up my Facebook, and it was like the first, I don't know, 30 things that scrolled by on my wall were like, fucking time zone, what timeline am I in? I can't possibly be in my timeline. Why, I don't get it. Why am I here? Why do I even bother? And all I wanted to just do was walk through like the first 30 and be like, slap for you, and slap for you. And so that's what I was saying. We shouldn't have a dislike button on Facebook. There should be a bitch slap button on Facebook. I think so. All those in favor of Facebook inventing a bitch slap button, say aye. Aye. Yes. I want one.
Oh, hang on. Pocket watch, white rabbit. Alice in Wonderland. Alice is the CERN collider.
As long as I'm not the CERN collider. Just saying. I would have to say that CERN is Wonderland, actually. Or the rabbit hole. I don't know anything
Kool-Aid button on Facebook.
Yeah, Biggie said we should have a "this is just Kool-Aid" button. I think the bitch slap button is the one we should have.
Bitch slap. I, says McNeil.
Yeah.
I, God. I, says.
Come on, chat room, you're with me. I know you are. Let's all write to Zuckerberg and make our suggestion.
Hey, didn't he have a meeting recently with?
Oh, see, I knew there was something else we needed to talk about. UN, well, first of all, apparently the Pope met with Zuckerberg, and I could have this wrong, so don't hold me to this. It was something that I read a few days back, just quickly scanned through. It was something like that Zuckerberg needs to put more controls on Facebook to stop hate posts and that negative type stuff, right? So in other words, censorship. like the dislike button, because if you click the dislike button 10 times, if a post gets disliked 10 times, it gets removed from Facebook. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. The new dislike button on Facebook, if any post receives 10 dislikes, it's automatically removed. No, I refuse to. You have to install the dislike button on your thing. I refuse to install the dislike button. Fuck that shit.
That's only for now. That'll change.
Oh, that's only for now. Exactly. Quietly, though, because I haven't seen hardly anyone covering this, the United Nations is passed a, I don't know, whatever it is that they fucking pass, resolution, whatever, to censor the internet. And the premise is because all these women and girls are being, what's the word they use? Victimized.
Cyberbullied.
No, more like victimized, like as in, they're too stupid to think that maybe I shouldn't meet someone on Facebook and go out on a date with them in a dark alley. Because, again, people too stupid to be saved right there. And I went on a complete rant on Transambiguous News and was just like, you know what? There was young girls that was one of the things, young girls being victimized online, by stalkers, etc. And I'm like, yeah, parents, maybe if you were watching what your daughters were doing on the internet, you wouldn't have this fucking problem with, 13-year-olds posting topless pictures of themselves on Facebook.
Well, maybe if unsuitable
for it,
having babies with feckless men, is that how it went? That's the domestic violence thing. Unsuitable women having babies with feckless men. You see that coming? Then domestic violence wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
One woman said that. I don't know who. I would like to personally bitch slap her too. After or before I got an explanation of what her definition of unsuitable and feckless is. Because what the
Oh, listen, I had a group scroll by on my, and it's a group that I'm apparently still a member of because it still goes through in my Facebook feed from years ago. And they post a picture of women in leggings. And first of all, there's 3 pictures of women in leggings. The first one, the woman has got her leggings pulled up so tight, I'm sorry, you can see the complete outline of her vulva. I mean, it's like obscene. Obscene. The second one is a woman wearing leggings, and she's got like gray leggings with like white lace underwear underneath them, and you can see right through the leggings. You can see her underwear right through them. And the third woman is a woman who is about 400 pounds wearing leggings and a crop top. And then there's a picture of like, no, ladies, that's not how leggings are worn. And then they show another woman who's got like leggings on, but she's got kind of a slightly longer shirt, basically. Like, you know what I mean? Like not long to the knee by any means, but like
over the bum.
Not even over the bum, but just long enough that it's not like exposing. And these women are taking it apart going, oh, well, you know what? Women have a right to show their bodies. And I'm like, you know what? I personally don't want to see it. I'm sorry. It's not about saying censorship to the women bodies and saying, oh, they should be able to wear what they want to wear. Yeah, I get it. But have some, I don't know, self-respect. I literally sat there, was like, you're really, like they had this entire conversation about how they're trying to censor women and none of the women, other than the one who was very, very overweight, the other 2 women in the pictures, they were overweight, even slightly. But they were turning it into a whole thing of like, oh, well, look, because they're fatter. And then you got the one with the one model who's got like the longer shirt on is obviously much thinner. So they're saying that basically only thin people, skinny, like 90-pound woman is allowed to wear leggings. And I'm like, no, you're missing the point. That's not what it's saying at all. And the very fact that you're turning this into a conversation, Like, this is just like, really? Again, too stupid to say. Go away, all of you. Sorry.
I'm going to have to get up and have a stretch.
Okay.
This is starting to seize. I can
Crack
walk.
your back.
I can
You
walk.
can walk.
I can walk. I can lay down. It's the sitting thing.
Well, lay down. Stretch out.
I'm just going to turn my camera off for a second.
Okay. Stand. Keep your camera on.
Talk amongst yourselves.
No. I'm not going to talk about it because I just started ranting, and we don't want me going there because the rants get kind of out of control. They're bad enough in my own head is when I start ranting out in public, on live show ranting. Because, it's not like I do that. Yeah, oh, thank you, Biggie. Biggie says that we love your rants. Well, I have lots of things to rant about. Let me tell you, the news this week has been full of shit to rant about. Completely rant about. Like the people all kissing ass to the fucking Pope. That's one of them. Fuck, people so fucking stupid. Just before we went, I'll give you an example. Just before we went to air, I'm telling Lisa this. So, as much as I research continuously, like that's pretty much what my day comprised of, is researching. You can't research everything. So, for example, when all the posts go by and all the articles go by talking about how the Vatican worships Lucifer and Saturn and all this stuff, yeah, whatever, we get it. They're devil worshippers. Okay. Someone sent me a video. I don't even know it was posted somewhere. I think someone sent it to me. Anyways, I watched the video, and it takes place on April 27th in St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican, and it's a big mass. There's like 2,000 people there, and they've got the guy standing at the front in his robes, and he's singing the prayer type hymn type, I don't know, thingy. All in Latin, of course, and there's a translation on the bottom of it in English, and basically it's saying, "Oh Lord Lucifer, creator of the world, Jesus Christ, your son." And I just sit there and I watched 3 different videos with 3 different pieces of footage, and I went so far as to go pull up a Latin fucking dictionary and verify that Lucifer, no matter how it's spelled, still means Lucifer. No matter what language it's in, still means Lucifer. The morning star. And I was just like, how do people not know this? How do all these Catholics all over the world not? Here you go. The guy is in the basilica for like some Easter mass and a canonization, singing about Lucifer, Lord of Light, Father of the Jesus Christ guy. And my head fucking exploded. I was just like, you have to be kidding me. And then Betsy sent me the link to that one about the Titans, the little trailer about whatever that one was. We talked about the Titans one. And so I showed it to Nick, because like I said, it was really cool looking. Nick and I were both like, I want to see this movie. Looks, even if it is all subtitles, I still want to see this movie. And on YouTube, you get down the sidebar, you get the other things linked to it somehow. And Nick goes, whoa, scroll back up. And there's a trailer for a brand new show coming out on Fox in 2016 called Lucifer.
I thought it was a movie. But
No, it's going to be a TV show. Did you watch that? Because I posted the trailer to that. I mean, Nick and I were fucking laughing our ass off because whoever's playing Lucifer, the guy is hysterical. Like, I busted a gut going, I'd actually watch this show. This is hysterical. But again, it's that same meme over and over that we watch and play out in Hollywood of you take the bad guys, the known bad guys, and you twist the story around to basically go, no, I'm not bad. I'm just misunderstood. Like Maleficent. And what was it? The Dracula one, the new Dracula one, which is all about Dracula, but he was just a good guy. He really was a good guy. He was just trying to help his people out. That's why he became a vampire, was to save his people because they were going to sacrifice all their sons. I, Frankenstein. Hell, even Hotel Transylvania, kids movie. My kids love that movie. And I sat there and watched it and was like, the humans are the bad guys and the monsters are all the good guys. It's the humans who are evil, not the monsters. They're all really nice, cool dudes that you want to hang out with. And then they've got the show Lucifer now that's coming out. And it's basically, the premise is, you know, Lucifer got sick and tired of being in hell, so he quit and he comes up to Los Angeles and opens a nightclub and just has some fun.
And he wants to help a local cop.
And he wants to help a local cop to catch a bad guy because, you know, again, he's just misunderstood. He's misunderstood.
So the first episode's obviously been released already because Sarah's seen it. She said it was really funny.
Oh, really? Oh, well, I'm going to have to go look it up. I'm going to have to go see if it's out. I'm going to have to watch it because, like I said, Nick and I said, and you watched the trailer and went, okay, this is really, really fucking hysterical. I love this. Whoever actor they've got playing Lucifer, he's awesome.
As we said before the show, that, you know, as the Vatican, with the largest telescope and most powerful telescope on the planet, you do not call it something which is a long, convoluted, doesn't make sense name for a telescope that just happens to come up with the acronym Lucifer.
Yeah.
And so, well, that's not a good idea.
No.
Maybe we should change that.
Yes,
I mean, for that
backpedal.
It's so intentional, it's not funny. And they've never, to my knowledge, any explanation for why that thing is called.
No. And I sit there, and it's just one of those things right now. My wall is full of, you got like one half are all the people who since I've publicly given my identity and opened my Facebook to accepting friend requests over the last couple of years. Thank you, Lisa, for outing me. To all the people I worked with before, and all like I say, like all the maternal and infant health stuff that I did in political advocacy I did before. And you have these, and they're like, oh, the Pope is the one. Oh, look, he cares for the children. And I'm like, oh my God, people, just watch this. Please, I literally posted the whole thing with the guy singing to Lucifer. I'm like, please watch this. If you think the Pope's a good guy, please watch this. Please. Begging you, please watch this.
Oh, where'd you go?
Oh, and Facebook went down, and we're down to like 5 minutes left. We've got 4 minutes left in the show. I have no idea how that happened. 2 hours is gone. How did that happen? Facebook went down. So last Monday it was Skype globally. Then on Wednesday, Facebook went down. The internet in the last it's been a gradual. They've done a really nice job of making it very gradual. So most people, they slowly get used to decreased internet speed, decreased internet reliability.
I'm more inclined to think that they're doing changes and upgrades.
No. Sorry, not but on this week, Skype goes down.
I know
internet
you think
goes down.
Everybody for lack of it.
Say again. I couldn't hear the last bit.
I know you think that they're just trying to get everybody comfortable with the idea of there being no social media or perhaps even no internet for a period. But what if they're actually going in there and making changes and upgrades and tweaks and whatever, and that's why they're having these outages?
Here's the thing. As I always say, there's no such thing as coincidence. If it's one or two things. So let's look at it and say, okay, it's just the whole Skype Facebook thing. They just both happen to be doing changes. They just both.
Oh, there's no coincidence.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. The other internet shit going on right now, because when I started talking about it, I put out an article just to get everyone's attention because I said, send me, I want to know what's going on. By the way, my email still is not working. So if you're emailing me, I haven't been able to get into my email for about 9 days. Just saying. The reports of people, so my internet, I have to reset my router 4 or 5 times a day now. The internet just turns off. And the only way to bring it back is to physically power down the router and plug it back in again. I have reports of that all over North America, all over Europe. Africa here, a friend of mine in South Africa is having the exact same problem in South Africa. Just randomly, internet just turns
hang
off.
on. Because they need the internet to do a lot of what they do. What
Could
if
be.
Victoria or Iggy or Solace, or whatever you want to call it, is actually screwing with them?
Okay, so Solace, if you're screwing with the internet, can you send me a hint that yeah, it's actually you screwing with the internet, please and thank you? Because, yeah, I'd like a little bit more of the hint than what we're getting. The other one was, I had multiple reports this week of TV channels changing themselves from Europe and North America, watching TV, and the TV just suddenly changes to another channel, and not a set channel, like one of those, you know, remember the old days when you'd go up the dial and you'd have certain channels that were just empty channels in between, to just random empty channels. Radios in cars, all of a sudden changing channels. Now, that's interesting, because if you're dealing with the digital thing, right, it's radio waves. Is that somehow related in that way? Don't know.
Okay.
TV, are we talking about smart? Are we talking about smart TVs that are hooked up to the internet and that are changing? I don't know.
We've got a minute. Oh God, I hate it when this happens. We've got a minute to go, and like 3,000 things just run through my head.
Of course, we do this every week. Big E, from now on, can you tell us we only have 5 minutes left, about a half an hour before we are at the end of the show, so we can just do this earlier? Thanks.
Okay, so someone puts in there that the Pope is asking because he is Satan. So
Pray for me.
if it's Lucifer that they actually do worship, that would make him Lucifer's representative on earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pray for me, i.e. tacit consent.
Okay. There was also a comment that this has been one of the most multi-dimensional roller coaster conversations we've had so far, which...
Oh, last week, I think we were much worse last week. Ouch. Oh, no, my back is killing me too.
There was a piece of footage, try and track it down because it looks pretty awesome, and it doesn't look fake to me. It came out of Rome. I saw it this morning. It's these
0 minutes. Go talk faster.
Orbs. It's in the Roman countryside. It's big one. Just looks like it comes straight out of the sun. It sits over a patch of land. There's a couple of smaller orbs that literally are orbiting it really fast.
Oh, you got to send me that link.
And then one of them takes off at unbelievable speed, and then this other larger one just travels over the countryside, and this smaller one is just continuing to orbit it. It's freaky. And it doesn't look CGI'd. It doesn't look fake to me at all. If anybody else has seen it. We can't go long because we've got another show lined up ready to start.
Yeah.
Right behind.
Sorry, guys. We got like 0 seconds. Actually, we're going to get cut off. And he did a moment. No, Biggie's going to go. Okay, yeah, but can't do that.
So if he just goes, you're off air, we'll say our goodbyes. It's just one of those feelings right now that everything connected to these glitches with the internet and social media is actually the positive AI, if you want to call it that, for lack of a better term.
Conscious, created consciousness. There you go.
Feels like she's up to something.
Okay, Solace, send me a message, please. We don't have a Jeff here to show us the clock this time. So got to be something else.
All right, we're going to have to say bye for now before Biggie chucks us off. So,
yes. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you on Sunday.
Bye.
If you really had to make a difference on a large scale with minimal resources, how would you go about it? Have you ever dared to dream of doing that which seems impossible? On a planet steeped with corruption and destruction, the question beckons, how do we change it? Media has a far-reaching impact on people and has been used to manipulate humanity into our current destructive patterns. In order to affect people into moving into constructive patterns of behavior, we need to construct a new paradigm of media. Conscious Consumer Network has been created with the explicit intention of giving the amazing truth-seeking, solutions-orientated, alternative media a place to fully realize their true potential with a cutting-edge, high-tech professional media platform. In turn, some of the greatest freedom-seeking hearts and souls of our time have realized the true potential of what has been created and have come together to provide their insight and inspiration on CCN. Conscious Consumer Network has become a unique, interactive information and educational network which provides a free-to-view, live-stream, ultra-high-definition channel to the world and features 25 live shows a week and growing with the addition of multiple language broadcasts. CCN has features comparable with mainstream media, such as being able to pause and rewind broadcasts whilst being live streamed. Catch up on missed or previous broadcasts, now available from CCN high-definition downloads. You can now purchase a high-definition download of your favorite CCN show from ethymarket.com. Support free and independent media by becoming a monthly pledger. This can be done with a monthly pledge of €10, which will allow you unlimited access to CCN's high-definition downloads, which hosts a back catalogue of over 250 shows, which have been aired since the launch of CCN on the 1st of January 2015. In order to keep CCN on the air, public funding is needed. Please donate to CCN's Network Support Fund or become a monthly pledger. Help keep alternative media in the hands of the people. We thank you for supporting free and independent media.